Hi, everyone. As promised, here are the slides from today's forum. Thank you very, very much for attending the forum. And again, we had an hour of really good discussion. So I thought I'd record uh, just that input session part for you, and I'll provide the slides as well. So we started today looking at this photograph, and partly for a bit of fun, but also because I wanted to say something here about optical illusions. And optical illusions happen when our brains are trying to make the best decision based on the information that we have in front of us. And so for me, this picture was a great reminder that we don't always have everything fully revealed to us. And so therefore, we can end up having quite a narrow opinion, view, perspective. So looking at this photograph head on right now as I am, I see, two zebras with one head. However, if I was stood at a different location, different position to the side, at the back, I would see clearly that there are two zebras. But thinking about this now with two individuals, one looking at this head on and another perhaps standing to the side or at the back with a different view, one of us, both of us have a different perspective. Both of us are right in our perspectives. So there's something here about helping each other to see those different perspectives, if that means a physical shift in thinking or movement. So really, that's what this picture represents to me, just that shift that we need to make to see a different perspective. So welcome to the Inspire Forum, and certainly we had a productive time, very fast hour. A little reminder here about what the Inspire Forum is, and it is a space to bring together thinking. It is predominantly a women's development space, but for me that includes everyone who wants to have that discussion. I ask that everyone who attends challenges themselves and their assumptions, that we're able to offer each other a different perspective, that we're curious and ask and respond to questions in the chat box or in the discussion groups, to inspire and allow yourself to see different perspectives, to ensure that we all contribute and that contributions are meaningful and add value. Respect and reflect on all views before responding. All views are welcome. And when you're presented with a challenging view, that perhaps we ask ourselves, we stop, we reflect, and we ask ourselves, what am I learning here? And what can I offer to this discussion? But most importantly, the delegates, the participants, all of you are the stars of the show. And it's for you to help guide and encourage, support and inspire. So today's forum was the second. The first was launched to coincide with International Women's Day, and we selected Choose to Challenge, which is the theme for this year. And through that discussion, what you see there are lots of different thoughts, ideas that came up through that first Inspire Forum. And where we were left, though, is with this question, how to challenge effectively. What do we need to do to make that difference, to make the change, to make the shift? So, we concluded that whether it's equality, inclusion, biases, culture, values, whether it's about business growth or coping with a COVID world, nothing changes until you can shift behaviors. So understanding how to influence a change of behavior is really key. So we came to this conclusion, which is that if you want to see results, then focus on changing behavior. Thinking about this and preparing for today led me to the stages of behavior change. And you can see there some information about where this model comes from. But what this model shows us is that there is a pre-contemplation phase, which is a time when you're unaware of the problem. A contemplation phase, which is becoming aware of the problem and of the desired behavior change. then the preparation, which is the intention to take action, and then the action itself, putting into practice the desired behavior, maintaining and sustaining that behavior. And I've added there relapse, which can happen and it should be planned for. So what this is telling me, really, thinking about what we've discussed so far, is that, you know, we're in that grey yellow box, really, raising awareness of the problem, raising awareness of the desired changes, helping people prepare or preparing ourselves or intending to take action, but perhaps not taking action yet, and certainly not sure about how to maintain that action and what to do if there is a relapse. So raising awareness isn't always enough. And that informative messages do lead to a rise in awareness, but awareness doesn't always lead to a change in behavior. And it's a change in behavior that we're after. So at this stage, I introduced you to the FOG behavior model. And so FOG's model is based on M for motivation, ability. The ability here is the ease, the simplicity, that change, you know, how simple that change is. Is it hard to do, easy to do, and the steps that you require to get there. And P being prompts. So let's have a look at this a little bit more closely. FOG talks about 3 motivators: sensation, anticipation, and belonging. And in each of these motivators, there's a plus and a negative. So pleasure and pain, hope, fear, and acceptance and rejection. And we see these being used, actually, if you think about marketing, if you think about social media, if you think about those messages that are you know, sent our way. Some of them nudge our behavior or help try to shift our behavior through things like fear. So you think about cigarette advertising now with the consequences of smoking on the back of that packet. That's just one example. So 3 motivators, and also 3 paths to increasing that ability, or the simplicity of that change. So what we're looking at here is training. So, you know, seeing, but training is seen as being a difficult path because people don't always want to learn something new and they can resist. But also we've seen lately in the media that things like unconscious bias training isn't working. And that's because training alone doesn't help. And we need a change in behavior, and that's what we're talking about today. The other path is giving someone tools to make behavior easier to do. So an example of this would be if you want to eat healthy and cook nutritious food from scratch, buy a chef box. So there's lots of chef boxes now. The food arrives at your house with a simple recipe card, step by step, for you to follow. That, something like that, where the tools are being given to you, will help that behavior change to happen. Breaking the change up into smaller achievable steps. This is that simplicity, that ability that FOG talks about. So breaking it down into easy to achieve steps. But FOG also says that change doesn't occur by itself, and that an event needs to prompt or trigger the change. And that event, that trigger, then leads to a chain reaction, which leads to a reinforcing feedback loop. And if that change then passes the tipping point, that's when you achieve a sustainable state, a space where the behavior, the new behavior, becomes the new norm. So prompts fail if motivation is low or hard to do. Prompts or triggers are successful when motivation is high and it's easy to achieve. So motivation, ability, that ease of doing this change, and a trigger must converge at the same time for a behavior change to occur. So I'm going to show you a video here. You might want to turn the sound down a little. It's a bit shaky. Apologies for that. But video here that brings those phases to life. Please keep an eye on the green box, which appears.
I got to be unstoppable. I got to be unstoppable.
That's right. I got to be unstoppable. That's right. I believe you guys.
Unstoppable indeed. I got that from a blog that I read, and I'll include the link of that blog in the materials. So what does all this mean for you and for your situations, your change requirements and your change areas, objectives? So the question that we then moved on to discuss is this: how can we nudge people and ourselves to shift behaviors? I asked for everyone to focus on equality, gender equality, inclusion biases, but the results of your discussions really have a place no matter what change you're looking at. If you're dealing with change or trying to implement something new, then I think this discussion is valid for those as well. You know, we all use lots of change models. There's so many out there. Here's three that I compared, Cotter, Lewin, and the ADKAR model. But the question is, we've got process, we've got models to give us a framework, but how do we make it stick? Change is a very messy business, and you know, we all experience changes all the time. So if that's you in the middle, around you there are many changes. Each of those circles around the word you represent a change, and we have lots of them going on. They're at different speeds, they're at different sizes, but they're all going on around us. It could be dealing with COVID, it could be a life issue, it could be a work issue, it could be a home issue. So lots of changes happening. And what we're trying to do is work through those changes, and we're trying to move towards that transition circle. But of course, one change can arrive into transition and a new change begins. All those other changes are still going ahead. So that middle bit, that movement from the change to transition is the crucial bit. It's an emotional roller coaster. So if you think about the Kubler-Ross cycle, for example, you'll see exactly what a roller coaster of emotions one goes through. And so I don't know, perhaps the fog model and nudge theory can help here. So as a result of your conversations, you pull together some thoughts, which are here. I've summarized them. You'll get this in your pack. We also talked about nudge theory. So again, I will include this in your slides when you receive them. Some good links there for you to look at. And I've also included some ideas that came to my mind as I was listening to you and thinking about the feedback that you've given. And I'm not going to go through this now on this slide, but to offer them to you when you receive them. There's also a slide in here with all of your connection details for those of you who agreed to connect with each other. And I just want to say that I thoroughly enjoyed this morning. I hope you did too. Do write about today, you know, post it on your social media. If you mention me, then I'll pick up your posts and send them, share them, like them. I'd also like to know if you put anything that's resulted from today. I'd love to know if you've put that into practice. Has it had an impact on anything that you've done? So do please drop me a line. The next event will be in June. I haven't decided a date, but I will let you know.